jargon that you can get rid of, that, you know, gazillions of acronyms in theoretical chemistry that the non-expert just gets confused by. We also try to really put emphasis on defining, assessing, and promoting standard methods. Theoretical chemistry has all these, a zoo of different methods. Every research group, you know, and almost every paper comes up with something new. The non-expert, you know, can easily drown in all that. And standardization is really important. That's true, I mean, for almost every technology. Without a certain degree of standardization, its progress is very slow. The third point is pretty obvious. We put a big emphasis on three-dimensional molecular visualization. A picture replaces 1,000 words. That's almost self-explanatory. Last but not least, directly related to today's workshop, we are trying to bring scientifically sound modeling to the world of teaching. Not just modeling that's, which are animations produced by you following the storyboard, essentially artist conceptions of things, but modeling that is based on serious science, on simulating nature by solving basic physical equations. We have two product lines. The flagship product is called Spartan, which is actually a collaborative product with a little company called QChem, which is closely associated with the University of California, Berkeley. Spartan is used all over the world, over 100,000 licenses in use for research and education. Education use, however, is largely in the second and third year of college, typically in the organic chemistry teaching lab or physical chemistry teaching lab, where the instructor wants to add a modeling component to the traditional lab. And Spartan lends itself to that extremely well. The sister program of Spartan is Odyssey. So Odyssey shares a lot of the visualization with Spartan, but it's a distinct program because it really focuses exclusively on education. And in the world of college or higher education, really the first and second year, general chemistry, physical chemistry, it's heavily used in secondary education, high schools in the US, A-level classes in the UK, courses. So it has a user base which are beginning chemistry students, and the idea is to make modeling available for the first time, scientifically sound modeling to this user base. I'll leave it at this for this little intro to the software they are going to use. I hope that the next couple of hours will be instructive, and all that's left for me to do is to wish you good luck and good chemistry.
Okay, so that was...
Hello, I'd like to welcome Dr. Srivastava, Dr. Jain, Dr. Bala, and every one of you to today's molecular modeling workshop. I am Jürgen Schnittger. I'm the author and lead developer.
Hello, I'd like to welcome Dr. it's getting repeated.
Dr. Jain, Dr. Bala, and every one of you to today.
Okay, sorry, there was some repetition there. So let me start directly with the software. So without wasting time, that's the icon for the Odyssey software, and that's the home page you'll see whenever you'll open the Odyssey software. That's the home page you'll see. So it has various menus there. Normal, it's there in every software, file, edit. Rest of the thing we'll talk about it during the course of this webinar. We have some shortcut menu for doing some operation there, regular operation, which we do it in this particular software. The software has been divided into various categories. So for any new user, I'll prefer that they should start with the new user, this red one. And you can also go for the demonstration labs there, but we'll stick to the new user. So we have less than around 30 minutes left of that. So hurriedly, we'll take a few tutorials there. 2-3 basic tutorials so that you get used to this particular software. We won't take the tougher one. The tougher one will be taken tomorrow by Professor Snetkar himself. So I'll go for the basic one. First of all, in any computational chemistry, you should be comfortable with handling of the mouse. So normally in chemistry, let's take the first example. If I want to view a sample molecule, now normally in a key we have, in a mouse, we have three keys there: left button, right button, and the middle scroll, that is the wheel one. So if I press the left button and keep in the press mode, I can rotate the molecule. And if I click the right button, I can translate the molecule. With the help of scroll, I can zoom in and zoom out. Let me stop all the participant video because that is creating an issue there. Okay, so you should be first comfortable with the use of mouse. You should be able to rotate the molecule by pressing the left key. You should be able to translate the molecule by pressing the right key. You should be able to zoom in and zoom out by the help of the scroll, that is the wheel there. Okay, so but you can also see that on the right hand side, all the summaries are given. If you have a touchpad, if you have a laptop, if you have a desktop, how to do that in a desktop, how to do that it's all given there. So I'll start with some simple example. Let me try to build some simple organic molecules. So the first icon is for building new sample there. So new blank sample, if I click this, the build panel appear. And the build panel, on the left hand side of the palette, you have some atom type. There's a drop down menu called entry level or advanced for solid state, peptide. For biochemistry, you can build biomolecules also. So normally in the default version, some simple, the regularly used atom types are given. So for example, if I want to model butane 1-ol, so I will choose carbon with the sp3. I'll prefer that please this participant should not speak in this. This will create problem for that. We'll have some question queries there at the end of the webinar. So let's please don't interrupt in between that. That will create a problem because lots of participants are participating in the webinar. So if I choose the first one, carbon with the sp3,
it is cool.
And let me mute all of them. Okay, so if I choose the carbon with the sp3, I can increase the number of carbon atom. You see that this carbon with the sp3 4 spokes there, yellow one. At the end of each spoke, if you keep on pressing the cursor, if you put the cursor, you can increase the number of that number of carbon atom. You can increase the chain length. For example, if you want to put OH group at carbon 1, you can choose the atom type oxygen with 2 single bond. If you press that, you have now butane 1-ol. Let me mute all because I'm getting the sound there, everyone. Okay, so now we have butane 1-ol. If you want to come out of this build panel, there is a cross button on the top left corner. If I cross this, I'll come out of the build panel. Automatically, the leftward valency is filled by the hydrogen. Now, Professor Jagner talked about the standard thing. Normally, each atom in computational chemistry has a typical color. So if you see the icon with this oxygen, if I click this oxygen, you have a periodic table. Now you can see that in the periodic table, each atom has been assigned a particular color. So normally, whenever you publish your research work, whenever you do some project, be careful that you stick to those color which is the most standard one used worldwide. So you can see that hydrogen by white there, oxygen typical deep red. So I'll close this. So that's butane 1-ol. Now I'll show you some important features there. So important features, like in computational chemistry, we do something called simulation studies. So there is a button, the play button. If I click this play button, what will happen? At room temperature, the molecules keep on vibrating, the bonds keeps on vibrating. Let's stop this simulation, and this vibration occurs in the time scale. You can see that bottom right corner, the time scale is 10⁻⁻12 second. That's the typical picosecond a particular bond vibrates. So another very important feature, as a chemist, we are mostly interested in knowing the electron density, where we have higher charge density, negative charge density, where we have a positive charge density, where the electrophile will attack, where the nucleophile will attack. So let's do that calculation. And for that, you know that in quantum chemistry, in order to get the electron probability density, we have to solve Schrodinger equation. So when we solve Schrodinger equation, we get the value of wave function. When we square that wave function, we get probability density. So in the background, this calculation will happen. So if I choose this electron cloud or the sort menu, you can see there's a cursor there, the sort menu for calculating electron cloud, that is for doing the electronic structure calculation. If I press this, there's something called polarity map. So if I click the polarity map, you can see that there's some calculation happening there. This is status bar in the bottom there. Already the calculation has been done. So maybe some lower level of calculation has been put into input. That's why so fast this all calculation happened. Also, we have a very small molecule. So there's a scale. You can see on the left-hand side, the blue one is for the positive charge maximum, where the positive charge density, positive charge is there. And the red one, more the red color, that is more the negative charge density is there. So it's, as a chemist, you know that oxygen is the most electronegative ion within this. So this will have maximum red color, and the hydrogen which is attached to the oxygen will have maximum blue color. So this is a very important feature. Normally a chemist is generally interested in getting the electron density, and we can easily do this in this particular software. Okay, I'll show you some other feature while taking other example. So let's go for in inorganic chemistry, let's try to model a simple S8 molecule. So in S8, the sulfur, so if I choose sulfur with 2 single bond, that is sp3 hybridized sulfur, and click on the build panel, so we have sulfur with 2 single bond in the bent form, and let's try to create S8. So we need to add 8 sulfur there. So one by one, let's add randomly 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8. Randomly I did that. No, look, in computational chemistry, the first thing any computational chemist do is they make a rough, just from the chemical intuition, they make a rough picture of a geometry of a particular structure. And that particular geometry may not be at the lowest energy geometry form. So for that, the second important thing we do is we go for something called geometry optimization. So now we can see that there is a third icon. And third icon from itself, it is clear that it is going down the hill. There's something called energy minimization. So if I do this, something happens. But still it is not S8 because these 2 bonds are not connected. So let's do this feature. We try to connect these 2 bonds. This can be done 2 different ways. Either I can use this edit one, or I can use the shortcut menu here at the bottom. If I put the cursor here, you can see that there's something called make bond. So if I choose this make bond and select the 2 end of this structure, look that there's a bond formation between these 2 sulfur. But you can easily see that this bond is a bit elongated one. So obviously this will not be the structure with the lowest energy. So again, what we'll do, we'll go for something called energy minimization. If I do the energy minimization, now you can see that it's clear crown ring structure there, right? Okay, so that's one example. Let's take another few more examples, few more advanced one. If I choose a new blank sample. Now, till now in the drop-down menu, we have been only using this entry level. For example, if I have to create a coordinate compound, a octahedral coordinate complex there, let's do that. So for that, for example, if you want to create an octahedral complex of chromium, now in this particular atom type chromium is not there. So what I'll do, I'll take the advanced version. Now in the advanced version, I'll go for, from this drop-down menu, now a periodic table pops up. We'll choose an atom of our interest. Let's choose chromium. And chromium with all these different type of hybridized state. So if I choose the chromium with the octahedral one, and if I click this, now we have the chromium having 6 particular bond in the octahedral fashion. Now let's put some ligand around this chromium. Now we have some set of important ligands generally which we use. For example, if I choose ammonia, let's place ammonia, 4 ammonia cis to each other. And let's put 2 chlorine on these 2 positions there. So for that, let's choose the periodic table chlorine atom with a single bond, and then add this. So we have the octahedral complex. Whatsoever the left valency is, that will be completed by hydrogens. If I come out of this build panel, automatically you can see that we have a coordinate compound. Okay, so we missed one thing. That is, I'll go back to that. Now chromium generally has +3 oxidation state. Then this chromium is +3, ammonia is neutral, but chloride is -1. So what will be the net charge on this particular coordinate complex? The net charge will be +3 and -2, that will be net +1. So we have to assign that charge also. So you can see that on the left hand side, there's something called set charge. So if I select this, there will be a net ionic charge. We have option to increase or decrease the charge. So if I increase this +1 and then I make it okay, so look, see that we have a +1 charge. Okay, we'll take a few more examples to see what are the features available in this particular software. Let's take an example of a glucose molecule, a cyclic glucose molecule. Again, I'll start with a new panel. And you can see that we have some options called groups, rings. Cyclic form of glucose is a 6-membered ring. So let's choose that cyclohexane. And once I press this, we get a cyclohexane. Now you can see that it's in the chair form. Now in glucose, in the 6-membered ring, one of the atom is oxygen. So what we'll do, we'll replace this carbon with oxygen. So we'll select the oxygen with 2 single bond and simply click on this particular atom. Now we have a 6-membered ring, a heterocyclic ring with 1 oxygen atom. Now in glucose, we know that the carbon which is adjacent to oxygen has CH2OH group at the equatorial position. So how to do that? We'll take carbon with sp3 hybridized carbon and click on at the end of this particular spoke. So now we have a methyl group and convert to the CH2OH. Then what will do that? We'll take oxygen with 2 single bond and click at the end of this particular spoke. So now we have the CH2OH group on this carbon which is adjacent to this particular oxygen atom. To make it a complete glucose, the other thing will be, we'll put 1 OH on each leftover carbon atom, and that too at the equatorial position. So we'll again select oxygen and keep on putting OH at the equatorial position. Okay, that's done. Now we have a feature to check that the structure we have created, is it glucose or not? So you can see an icon here. This is the icon for molecular formula. So what is the molecular formula of glucose? That is C6H12O6. If I click this, you can see that that's the molecular formula C6H12O6. There's another option, this ABC. That's the name structure. If I click this, now look at this. What is the name there? It's beta-D-glucopyranose. That means this particular software also deals with the stereochemistry. Now, if I want to convert this beta-D-glucopyranose into alpha-D-glucopyranose, that is enomer, what I have to do, look at that, I'll do another feature there. If I select the carbon atom which is adjacent to this particular oxygen, that we can do it just by clicking the left button, this selected. And then click the right button, shortcut menu appear there. Now you can see that there is options called invert atom chirality. So if I do this, look at that. Earlier, what was the name? Earlier the name was beta D glucopyranose. Now if I invert, something will happen. Be careful, something will happen. Okay, sorry, I took a wrong choice. Let's not take this. Take this particular one. In this carbon atom, OH is present at the equatorial position. Now if I invert atom chirality, now the OH has gone to axial position. And now if I check the name of this compound, it is now alpha D glucopyranose. Okay. Okay, let's see some more feature. I'll go to atom type, add some atom. What I'll do, I'll surround this glucose molecule with some water molecule. So randomly I'll have selected this oxygen with 2 single bond and randomly put some water molecule around this particular glucose, a random position. Okay, so I put some water molecule around this glucose, and then what I'll do this geometry optimization. Something happened. There was some calculation there, and now let me start this simulation. If I start the simulation, you can see that water molecule is moving around this glucose. I'll stop this simulation. Now we know that after the simulation, you'll see something interesting happening there. Look at the orientation of water molecule around this glucose. Let's concentrate on this. This water molecule, oxygen, is directed toward the hydrogen of the glucose. So why that? Because of a phenomena called hydrogen bonding. You want to see that hydrogen bonding, go to this style and then click the hydrogen bond. So you can see that there is a hydrogen bond appearing between these two. Okay, I forgot to mention some other feature there. In style, you have different way to represent this particular model. At present, if you can see that there's the selected one is the ball and spoke form, but you can also have tube form. In different chemistry book, you'll find such type of structure regularly there. You can have also in the form ball and wire. You can have in the form of wire. Now, if I start this simulation, there's something called space filling also, but the most frequently used one is the ball and spoke. Now, if I start this simulation, you can see that why glucose is viscous. That's because of this intermolecular hydrogen bonding between water and water, between water and glucose. Okay, let's take, so now we have around 10 minutes left for this webinar. So we'll take 2-3 more examples. Okay, so let's take more feature there. In this drop-down menu, you have something called peptide. So let's take some example of biochemistry. Now, if you want to create some peptide molecule, right now we have 20 amino acids. So you know that protein is a polymer of amino acid and 20 essential amino acid. Right now, single amino acid is selected. I'll take that alpha helix. I want to create a secondary structure of polypeptide, and randomly I'll choose few amino acid. So that's the primary structure based on the choice which you are taking of the amino acid. And let's click on this. Okay, so that's a typical polypeptides, but looking at the picture, you are not able to make it that is this a secondary structure, is this alpha helix or beta plated? What I'll do, again, I'll do something called geometry optimization. So look at that, there's a progress bar. What is this geometry optimization? In this, what they do, they change the bond length, bond angle, dihedral angle, and look for, in chemical chemistry, there's a word called local minima. So they look for local minima in the potential energy surface. That is the equilibrium structure they want to create. So based on the large number of atoms present in this molecule, it is computationally more expensive. So what I'll do right now, I will abort this. But we have got some structure, but it's not clear from this, is this in the form of alpha helix? For that, we have something in this particular software. Let's go to the style. And if I choose this style and something called ribbons there, and ribbon, if we have monochrome, you can see that that's there. So these type of structure normally you see in any biochemistry chapter, in books like Strad or Leninger. In the style, we can also see that in the ribbons, if I select by residue, now each amino acid is assigned a particular color. Also, you know that this alpha helix structure arises because of intramolecular hydrogen bonding. So if you want to see that intramolecular hydrogen bonding in this particular polypeptide, again, go to the style, choose hydrogen bond. You can see that there's a hydrogen bond. And if you zoom it, you'll find that there's a hydrogen bond between this O and the hydrogen of nitrogen. And normally that's amino group or the carboxylic group. We have this intramolecular hydrogen bonding. Okay, so basically, as Professor Snitker talked about, this particular software is mainly introducing computational chemistry to the students at the graduate level. Normally, this is not the culture we have in our Indian universities, but you know that in this particular hard time, whatsoever studies in the lead molecule is going on worldwide, whosoever is publishing papers, they have come out some lead molecule for this COVID-19, most of the thing you'll find that it's based on computational study. So in order to train our student for doing such type of calculation, we have to start making them aware with these type of softwares at the very beginning, means at the graduation level. We can try to include this type of presentation in our lecture. I know, I can assure you that if you put all these things in your lecture, it will go to the next level. Okay, in few minutes, I'll take some additional examples, some physical chemistry example to show some additional feature. Let's try to do some type of simulation box thing. I'll create some simulation box. You know that air comprises of oxygen and nitrogen. So what I'll do, I'll put oxygen and nitrogen in a container. How I'll do that? Let's choose nitrogen, and with the triple bond, I'll click here, choose nitrogen at the other end. We have now N2 molecule. So you can see that nitrogen is a triple bond. Then we'll choose oxygen with a double bond, click it on the build panel, put another oxygen at the other end. Now we have oxygen and N2. Now I'll put this oxygen N2 in a box. So how to do that? I can do it in two different ways. Either I can choose this view, there's something called simulation cell, or I can go for right click. Again, you can see that there's a simulation cell. So if I check this simulation cell, on the left hand side, see that something called gas, liquid, and solid. Whatsoever thing you want to prepare, you can do that. So different states of matter, gas, liquid, and solid, will stick to the gas. Gas at room temperature 25 degrees centigrade, pressure 1 atmosphere. Right now we have 1 nitrogen and 1 oxygen. We'll put around 78 nitrogen and around 22 oxygen molecule. And we can have the cell replication also, but we won't go into that. We have a simple cell with 1:1:1 XYZ axis. Now let's apply this. You can see that in a box, we have oxygen, nitrogen, but they are very tiny. To make it more apparent, what I'll do, in the style icon, I will go for something called space filling. So there's an increase in the size, and then I'll come out of this panel. So we have a simulation box containing oxygen, nitrogen, and what happens? Gas and gas, the molecules keep on moving. They do random motion and they undergo collision with itself as well as wall of the container. So that happens there. If I start the simulation box, you can see that the molecules are moving. We can see more feature there. In this icon, if I press on this, there's something called graph plots there. So if I select this plot, and we can ask the students to do these type of project. And in the add plot, if I choose speed distribution, so Maxwell-Boltzmann speed distribution, and if I now start the simulation, you can see that a typical Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution, and that keeps on changing. But a normal feature appear there, and that we generally teach when we teach states of matter. So I'll stop this. More feature there. If I go for style to make it more apparent, there's something called collision. And in collision, you can have particle, particle wall, all. Let's select that all, and then start the simulation. So you can say that the keeps up whenever there's a collision, a sphere pops up around them. Okay, so I think 4-5 minutes more is left, so I'll take a few more examples. Let's take an example of solids. So in this blank sample, if I choose a solid, now we can have typical ionic solid. We have different types of solid. We tease that in solid state. We can have ionic solid. All the ionic compounds are solids. We know that. We have metals there, a molecular solid like dry ice. You can have silica or diamond. That's a covalent solid. So let's go for the ionic solid. And in ionic solid, again, we have different categories of ionic solid, AB type, AB2 type. We have spinels there. We have Woodside structure there. So let's select the most frequently, most simple one, that's a sodium chloride structure. Now in sodium chloride structure, we know that all alkali metal halide except cesium chloride, cesium bromide, cesium iodide, they crystallize in sodium chloride structure. So let's, we have selected sodium chloride and we can change that. Let's try to make this potassium bromide. So in place of sodium, let's choose potassium. And in place of chloride, let's choose bromide ion. And then this is a replication. This is 2:2:2. I can make it this as 3:3:3. And then if I click on the build panel, you have a solid 3:3:3. That's 1, 2, 3 on x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis. If I come out of this build panel, so we have the sodium and chloride ion. Now I'll show you some more feature there. If I select one of them, look at that, what I have selected at the bottom, it is potassium ion. So we know that in a rock solid structure, each cation is surrounded by anion. But what is the coordination number? We want to see that. So what I'll do the right click. There is something called set clipping center. So if I choose this set clipping center, now you can see that around potassium, we have 6 bromide in the octahedral fashion. If I increase that, what happens? If I decrease, we have potassium, then 6 bromide appear. That's the nearest neighbor coordination number. If you increase the size of the sphere, the next nearest neighbor appear. And if you can count it, the next nearest neighbor will be no doubt total 12. 1, 2, 3, that 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So if you want to come out, we have to do this unset clipping center there. Okay, so briefly, I've touched upon a few sample examples, but all these you can easily practice. You have a software for 30 days. You can go for this new user. Whatsoever operation we did, it's all summarized. If you do all those tutorials, you'll be master in this particular software. And all those typical examples which you have taken, that's there also there on the right-hand side. So what I'll do right now, so it's almost done. So if you give us a feedback there, we'll try that. Okay, we have 2-3 minutes left more. This is a particular software which we have used for teaching purpose, but its mother branch is your Spartan. So just giving you the glimpse of its mother branch. So that's the Spartan software. So it's taking time to start. Okay, so there's some issue with this, so let's stop this part 1. Okay, so thank you for participating in this particular webinar. Now I'm going to stop this webinar here only, and thank you for the participation. Thank you so much.